Our guest today on Cross Currents is Joe Saunders of Intrigue Films. He's worked with artists such as Rebecca St. James, Sonic Flood, and Brian Littrell. Joe is the executive producer behind the upcoming feature movie, Beyond Belief, a film inspired by the legendary Christian rock band Petra, whose bold sound and unwavering gospel message helped spark a movement in the hearts of thousands back in the 80s and 90s. But more than a nostalgic journey, Beyond Belief is a modern retelling of how God's grace breaks into lives. God has used the music of our youth to shape our faith, and now we'll be hearing how it can be used to reach an entirely new generation. Stay with us as Joe shares the vision behind this powerful project. Joe, thank you for joining us today. As we start, if you could tell us a little about yourself and the movie Beyond Belief.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I'm an executive producer with a company called Intrigue Films, and we make faith-based feature films. Beyond Belief is going to be our third feature. We made a movie called One Hit from Home you can get through PureFlix. We made a film called Grace Wins that was through Bridgestone. And this is our third movie. It's called Beyond Belief. And one of the things we were doing with this movie is we had this really cool idea about making this movie that was kind of like a cross between like Field of Dreams and like The Karate Kid. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but we really wanted to kind of like tell the story of like, God is the same. He never changes, and he's still speaking to us. And we just thought it was a really interesting idea of like, what would happen if God like spoke to somebody, like in the modern, out of like a biblical context. And so we had this kid in the story who hears this voice, and he has to kind of figure out what that word means to him. So going down that road, we thought, well, if we're going to make like a faith-based like 80s movie, we thought, man, we need to have a rockin' 80s, faith-based soundtrack. And so I just started like listening to a whole bunch of, faith-based Christian music from the 80s, Stryper, Garment Key, Res Band, and of course Petra. And I heard that song Beyond Belief, and I was like, wow, this is, not only do I think this is the best song that I've heard of like from that genre, but it was really our movie. And we just thought we would reach out to Petra and see if they were interested in working with us. And we got a hold of Bob Hartman. He said yes. And the rest, I guess, as they say, is history.
Nice. That's exciting. With Bob Hartman and John Schlitt, I've seen some video interviews online you did with them. Did they come down to the set during filming?
Yeah. So when we talked to, one of the things that's really interesting about this is Petra's music has never been used in a movie before, which is kind of wild, Like we were thinking, like we were doing some research on this, and I was pretty blown away by the fact that, this, iconic, Christian rock band that essentially like changed, Christian music forever nobody has ever used their music in a movie before. So we will be outside of like the Beyond Belief video album, which you're probably familiar with, that came out when the album came out. This will be the first movie to ever use the music of Petra. So our initial relationship with them was like, I think when I first talked to them, they thought I was kind of nuts. But so we went out to Nashville and we had dinner, and then we kind of started developing and getting all this ready. And at that time, maybe about a year later, Petra had decided to go back on tour for their 50th anniversary tour. And so they invited us to go on tour with them. So we were able to take the message of Beyond Belief and the movie, promoting it all over the country with them, which was just a kind of like a dream scenario. And then we filmed them in Nashville, talking about the movie. We made this video that we released as part of a crowdfund campaign, them talking about the film, and that garnered about 1 million views in like less than 10 days online. And we to date it's over 3 million. And so we did that. And then, we kind of worked back and forth with them pretty, back and forth on the movie. But then as we were in production last October in Chicago, John and Bob did come out to the set for 2 days, and met with our crew, met with the cast, and just it was a real nice time. Just a lot, just providing support. There may be a cameo in the movie. That might also be happening, but yeah, they did come out, and it was a lot of fun. They were we are we are beyond blessed to have John and Bob involved with this. They are just they're the real deal. Like you don't. There's nothing. I know there's been a lot of sort of polarizing figures in Christian music recently. When you got guys like John Schlitt and Bob Hartman, you can tell straight away these guys are the real deal.
Speaking of the cast, how was that process? I see Libby Smallbone, sister of Rebecca St. James, is in the film.
Yeah, so we hired a casting agency to do to cast the film. So and we got some great talent. We actually, our lead actors, his name is Carson Leaders, and Carson is also a musician, and he's a very large social media following. But then, yeah, we know there's a lot of music in the movie. Obviously, we're using, the Petra's music is used throughout. But one of the things that we decided to do was, make the movie as really authentic. So in the film, the main character, played by Carson, he's in a Christian like garage band in the 80s, and he's trying to have like a band like Petra. And so we wanted to have like real music. So Brian Whitman, who is Grammy Award winning former member of Audio Adrenaline, wrote and produced original music for this film that is played. And in addition to that, we have some other instances in the movie where there's like a battle of the bands and stuff. And so we reached out to Libby, and we were like, hey, would you like to come and do a song in the movie? And she thought she loved the idea. We got a really fun song for her to do. And she was able to come out for a couple of days, and she did a song for us in the movie. So she was amazing. So it was a lot of fun.
So the movie is set in the 1980s, and that sounds exciting right off the bat. I think that will capture a lot of people's attention. And we have that going on these days with shows like Stranger Things. It must have been fun to recreate that time frame.
Absolutely. Very challenging. But it was a lot of fun. When we were thinking about this, yeah, like there had at the time, there had never been, when we had announced this, there had never been a faith-based movie that took place in the 80s, with two caveats to that. One is the movie Electric Jesus, which was about an 80s Christian rock band, and not necessarily a faith-based movie, but pretty cool. I mean, they a lot of throw into Striper and Res Band and stuff. And then, of course, Unsung Hero came out last year, which is the story of Rebecca St. James, Libby Small, and their family. And that also took place, and there's a Striper, piece in there too. But for our movie, ours is a fictional story. So ours is more like pop culture 80s. And so, yeah, we had a lot of fun recreating it. Very challenging, though, to make a period piece film because, when you're as a producer, you have to, deliver everything your cast and crew needs to be successful. And doing a period piece, every shot you have, every piece, everything in the movie, every prop, every costume, every car, every building, all has to be period. And so as fun as it was very challenging, but our team did an amazing job. They did just an incredible job, and I think people are really going to enjoy some of the nostalgia that we have put in Beyond Belief.
During filming, were there any unexpected surprises or moments that were memorable?
Yeah, we had a lot of that happen. When you're an independent film company, and you're doing something like this, which was like very aggressive, very ambitious, to do a film like this size with everything that we had involved. You're constantly dealing with things. I would just say, like, specifically that we really felt like, God's hand on this project, like from the very beginning. We worked on this movie for almost 10 years to get this done. We just constantly kept just going, and eventually to get to the point where, you're there, and then you're just kind of like feeling, you just start like coasting downhill, right? Like things are just starting to go your way. But along the way, yeah, like we lose a location, we're supposed to film the location the next day and it goes away and they can't let us, and then you get another one in 20 minutes. You're just like, what? Or something comes up that's going to cost more money than you thought, and you're going to be out another $5,000, and then like in it, real quickly, the same day and a couple hours later, like boom, $5,000 like shows up in your crowdfund. Like out of the blue. And those kinds of things happened on this film so many times, it actually kind of became funny. As I would meet with my team and we would go through this stuff almost on a daily basis, it just seemed like every time like something got messed up and something wasn't supposed to work out, it just got worked out. And we're just, we're blessed. We're just blessed guys. We're blessed team. And yeah, I don't know. It's just we just kind of feel like we're just vessels, man. Like we were just out there trying to like do the work, and then we just felt like God was just like leading us and protecting us the whole time.
What would you like viewers to take away from the film after they see it?
There's a really strong faith message in Beyond Belief, and with everything that we did, you have to have a strong message. So like the best movies that you see have very deep meanings to them. And they're just window dressed with a lot of different, science, monsters or CGI or sports or whatever. And so we felt like, there's a lot of window dressing in Beyond Belief. It takes place in the 80s. It's got all this Petra music in it. It's got real, new music. It's got, all these things we talked about. But at the end of the day, this is a movie about hearing God's voice and choosing between faith and reality. Because many times in the Bible, God will ask people to do things that they're not qualified for, right? They have no business doing. And the response is always, well, not always, but a lot of times the response is, and even from us today, when we feel, we will respond to God and say, hey, you're asking me to do this thing, and I'm not qualified, God. Like I can't do it. I don't have the skills. I can't accomplish that. It's impossible. And what God, I think, looks down at us and he looks at us and he says, I know it's impossible. I know you're not qualified. But that's not why I asked you. I asked you because I will go before you. And if you do what I say, then I will make all your enemies like footstools at your feet. Our movie is it's a movie, right? So it's very creative in the sense that this kid hears a voice and feels like he's being asked to do something that's very hard to do. We're on marathon. But I think in our own lives, as Christians, we have the Holy Spirit living inside of us. And so we're constantly being, having the Holy Spirit speaking to us and guiding us, whether we choose to listen to it or not. And sometimes God is asking us to do big things. He's asking us to move mountains, but a lot of times he's asking us to do something small. He might be asking us to speak to our neighbor, right? Give to something or whatever it is. And I think our prayer would be that people will go see this movie and watch this kid go through this process of hearing God's voice and having to deal with it. That the faith versus reality is it is a hard thing to do, but they'll watch the movie and then they'll say, that thing that I feel that God has been nudging me or speaking to me to do, I think I'm going to take a step in that direction and see what God might do. And that's really where the heart of Beyond Belief is. That's really what we hope to inspire people to do. That's really the message that we feel like we've been called to bring. Do you expect churches or small groups to show this film? We would love that. We are getting to the point now. We're basically July of 2025. So we're getting to the point where we're almost done with the film. Is almost completely done. So we should have the movie done in the next 10 to 12 weeks, at which time we'll be putting together a distribution plan. But yes, we feel like this movie we will be providing churches the opportunity to have a small group to screen it at their church. Now, the specifics of that I don't have yet, but yes, it would be. We feel like this movie can be used as a tool. It's for families, so it's fun for the whole family, and I think there's a lot of powerful messaging in it. I think that could really inspire people and help people draw closer to God and to the relationship with Him. So yes, that's definitely in our plan. Great. And if listeners want to find out more about the film, where should they go for that? Well, yeah, we're on all the social media platforms. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, We're on TikTok. We're everywhere you want to be with information. You can follow the film there to find out when it's coming out, more information. We have a website at intriguefilms.com, or you can go to beyondbelief.movie, or you can Google us and we'll probably pop up there. So yeah, any of those places would be good places to find out information. And we'll be updating people really soon here on when and where they can watch it once we have all those details hashed out.
That sounds great, Joe. And before we go, is there any other projects you'd like to tease or anything else to add about Beyond Belief?
I mean, Intrigue Films is currently working on 2 other projects. One is called Barrio. One is called All the Gold. You can find information about those at our website. But no, I think we're just we really appreciate the opportunity to spread the word about our film. And we're still just asking people to, just support the movie by following us, sharing our content, and just, when given an opportunity to have a chance to see it, that they'll come out and support the film.
Very exciting. Well, thank you again for being on the show today, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thanks for asking. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. We'll keep you in our prayers.
I appreciate it.
Take care.